Most business owners are playing the wrong game, and that's why growth feels so hard. Not because you're lazy, not because you're bad at business, but because your business outgrew the role you're playing. And nobody told you the rules changed. When you started your business, doing the work was the job. Answer the emails, solve the problems, be in everything. But at some point, growth quietly changes the rules, and nobody sends you a memo. Here's what the wrong game looks like in real life. You're answering text messages between client calls, putting out fires your team probably could have handled. You're approving things you wish that they would just decide on. And then around 8 p.m., after everyone else is offline, you finally sit down to do the actual work that you need to do. The business is moving, but only because you're running on a treadmill that you can't get off. And the faster it grows, well, the faster that treadmill moves. So today we're talking about the 3 roles most business owners move through and why the highest one doesn't even feel like a role at all. We'll look at why growth feels harder instead of easier and what it actually takes to shift the game. Let's start with where most of us begin. Most business owners get the first role: do the work, deliver the service, get results. That's the operator role. And then the team grows and things start to get fuzzy. What most people think the next level is scheduling people, running payroll, jumping in when there's a problem. That's not growth, that's just more responsibility. It still keeps you in the weeds, just with more people and higher stakes. And the highest role, well, it doesn't even feel like a role because no one started a business thinking, I can't wait to design how this company runs without me. But that's the shift growth demands. You may not have signed up to think about people's potential, decide how work should flow, create clarity so that others don't depend on you. But because you own the business, because you sign the checks, because the vision lives in your head, that role was assigned to you anyways. Think about doctors for a second. They don't go to med school thinking, I can't wait to manage a practice. They see themselves as healers, as care providers. But everyone else, the staff, the business, it looks to them to set the tone, to make decisions, and to create clarity. Business ownership, it works the same way. You didn't sign up to think about systems or structure or how decisions get made when you're not in the room. But the business needs that from you. If you don't step into that space, no one else will. Here's the thing, as the business grows, people don't need more instructions. They don't need you doing the work. They need you deciding what matters. And if you're still operating like you did when it was just you, when you first started out, well, that's when growth starts to feel heavy instead of free. I had one client, we'll call her Jessie, who said, look, I have 7 people on my team, but I'm still answering every question and approving every decision. I thought hiring would give me freedom, but instead I just have more people depending on me. So you stay stuck, being needed, being reactive, being the glue holding everything together, and that's when growth starts feeling harder instead of easier. By the way, if you're wondering what stage of growth you're actually in and what shift you need to make next, I've got a free quiz that you'll want to take. It's called the Ready to Scale Growth Stage Quiz. The link is in the description. It takes just about 90 seconds to 2 minutes. Be sure to check it out. So here's where the game changes, not by working harder, not by managing tighter, but by stepping into a completely different role. And I call it CEO mode. It's not about being busier, it's about choosing what actually deserves your time. It's not about doing more, it's about deciding what matters and letting your team own the rest. CEO mode is when you stop being the center of everything and start designing a business that can move without you in every detail. Let's be honest, this isn't fun to hear, but it's the truth that most business owners need. Because if you stay in operator mode, you'll always be the bottleneck, and the business will never be able to grow past what you can personally handle. Here's what I tell my clients. We are aiming to become a breakaway boss. A breakaway boss refuses to stay trapped in the daily grind. They see what their people can do and they actually let them do it. They build trust, not tighter control. They create systems that make life easier and not heavier. They don't just grow a business, they build something that supports their life. That's the shift. If you want to stop playing the wrong game, start here. Here's what I want you to try this week. Make a list of your top 2 to 3 employees, your top 2 to 3 team members. Then ask yourself, do I actually know what they love about their job? What they want to get better at? What motivates them to do their best work? If the answer is yes, write it down. Then look at what's on your plate and find one thing that actually aligns with what lights them up. Now, if the answer is no, block time on your calendar this week to find out, because you can't lead people that you don't really know. And knowing them, that's where CEO mode starts. If growth feels harder instead of easier, you're not broken, you're just playing the wrong game. And the good news? Once you see it, you can choose a different one. If you're ready to break away from the daily grind and step into that next role, take the Ready to Scale Growth Stage quiz. And make sure you're subscribed. This is exactly what we do here every single week. More growth doesn't have to mean more grind. Build a business that runs without running you into the ground. That's all for now. We'll see you next time.